This is Sybert signing into Red Alert 3 on the map Mers Landing. Hence all of the burning satellite wreckage. In the top right-hand corner as the yellow Soviets, this is Damon. And in the bottom left-hand side as the purple Empire, this is Fordell. All right, quick note before we get into the action. Yeah, this is a Soviets versus Empire, but I actually didn't know that going into this because these are from the Christmas Double Elimination tournament. Yes, I know, by the time this comes out, I think it will be April, but I've had these games on my hard drive for a while, and I did the finals, basically, of the Christmas, by the way, refineries into War Factory for Damon. I did the finals of the Christmas tournament, but there were so many people signed up for the tournament that we didn't get to see. There were so many potentially cool matchups like this one, Fordell versus Damon. Fordell, who's maybe been a little topsy-turvy over the course of 2021, showing some great games, showing some not-so-great games. Ooh, secondary engineer just waiting. And then Damon, who has been the classic powerhouse for going on 5 years in Red Alert 3. Does he always win the tournament? No, but if he shows up, there's a good chance that he does. By the way, if you haven't seen the 2021 Christmas tournament, the double elimination that I did the coverage of, it was phenomenal sets of games, and that's why I wanted to check out some of these replays. A couple of dojos heading around. Flak Trooper here with that. Ooh, doesn't get the mines, just barely. The Mecha Tengu does manage to kill the Flak Trooper. If you didn't know, the Flak Trooper can switch over to the mines, and basically in the time that it takes the Tengu to kill off the Flak Trooper can actually kill the Tengu as well. So it's sort of a net zero in that sense. And one thing that's not a net zero is grabbing this oil derrick away from Fordell. So very standard openers, very normal-looking game so far. Tier 2 is here for our Empire player. And third refinery is pretty close by here on Mers Landing. One of the maps coming over from Uprising. They got added into Red Alert 3 for a little while, but specifically for this tournament. Super Reactor has been done for a minute, but dealing with this harassment of the Harvesters is always a bit of a delay for the Soviet player. Looks like it's going to be a kill on the oil derrick. Fordell just wanting to deny that eco, not looking to capture it back, despite the fact that he has his own dojo right there. A couple of tank busters coming in from the north. By the way, big thanks to the folks who support the channel over on Patreon. Always appreciated, never obligated. The videos come out for free to everyone, regardless. Tengu swinging around the north side. Fresh Tengu, perhaps even a fresh bit of harassment, or maybe he'll call it off since he sees that there are hammer tanks there. Gonna chase away the bears for the current moment. Well, probably doesn't even get one bear before the hammer tank chases away that Tengu. Overall, feels like a solid opening for Damon. He's been able to fend off most of the Empire Harvester harassment. He stole away that oil derrick, and he's got himself set up going into three refineries and into sort of a normal game. It's up to Fordell, I would say, to disrupt this. By the way, another advantage of these being from the Christmas tournament, but the Christmas tournament being so long ago, is I knew who won the overall series, but I didn't know who won each of the individual games. So, to be honest, I don't remember. Is this from upper bracket or lower bracket? Does Damon win this series or lose this series? I don't know. Trades a Bullfrog for a Striker VX. Soviet is pretty much always going to be happy with a 1-to-1 trade in that case. Airfield finally coming up for Damon, getting that after his third refinery, but well before his fourth refinery. And it could just be a pocket 3 refinery kind of game. By the way, there is a dry dock, so a potential additional point of contention from both of these guys. But with both of the remaining expansions on each side being out on the water, being kind of in awkward positions. Actually, no, this is a 6 refinery map? That's so weird. This is indeed a 6 refinery map. Most maps are 5 refinery maps. But I guess there is one more land expansion, but these land expansions are way out there. So I would not be surprised if this sort of settles on being a 3-refinery game. The 4th refineries maybe aren't up for very long for either of these players. Tier 2. Okay, so we have some Shinobis coming out from Fordell, potentially looking to shut down production to cause some problems for Damon. One Tengu goes down, and the Twin Blade is going to be able to focus down the second Tengu. Little bitty trades like this from each player. Not big wins on either side, just little strikes here or there. It does feel like Damon is getting the better of these. I guess a couple of, well, no, don't kill the tank buster, or don't get the Terror Drone killed. That would be worse. 2 conscripts, who cares? But losing a Terror Drone and those conscripts, that's a little bit more costly. The Terror Drone you would much prefer to have running around the map, causing some problems, like potentially locking down any cores that come out from this Conyard. Now, fortunately for Fordell, he doesn't have any cores being built just yet. Tengu's showing up. They do manage to grab 1 MiG right out of the gate, and the 3 remaining Tengus will be able to chase away the Twin Blade. Maybe even one of them will transform to clean up that Terror Drone. No, they go directly for the Twin Blade. We'll be able to sacrifice that one single Twin Blade. Bullfrogs get the kill, and it's going to be the satellites raining down on the Harvester of the 3rd refinery. Gets the Harvester. The refinery will survive for the current moment. No strikers in the air, and the Bullfrogs are here if they are, but it's going to be the point defense drones up to the Tengus and the tank busters to kick out these hammer tanks, and it looks like they're going to be able to do it. One hammer tank goes down, the second one won't be able to escape, not with all this firepower waiting nearby. Terror Drone, it looks like, got called over from that, just canceled in time. That was very nearly disaster for Fordell. At the same time, Damon does manage to establish a 4th refinery. He's going for the land location. So, again, he does have 2 additional refineries he could take. He could try and form a little pocket here with this water expansion. That might actually be defensible, and especially if you're the one on the aggression, if you're the one keeping your opponent on their side of the map, then holding those 2 refineries might be more feasible. Tengu finally goes to kill that tank buster, and I think that building will resume. I assume it was a refinery there. Fordell hoping to get that refinery up minutes ago. Still doesn't have it established just yet. Tengu's going for the big harass. Nope, they're choosing to bide their time for just a little bit longer. All Tengus, pretty much no strikers. We saw 1 or 2 strikers earlier, but they ended up getting shut down pretty darn quickly. Harvester going to take a good amount of damage, but the hammer tank won't be able to finish it off, and the Harvester still is going to be harvesting at a pretty good rate. Refinery finally coming up. 4 refineries for 4 refineries. The Soviet player typically wants to be the one ahead on Harvesters. You want to be a little bit advanced in the eco because you tend to have more unit deaths. Just as a general rule, you tend to have more sacrificial units. Tengu's going to be able to escape away for the current moment. 1 Defender Core, 1 Dojo Core as well. I do wonder what that Dojo Core is for. I don't think we ever saw too much use out of those Shinobis. Fordell was heading out to harass, turns around his striker. He may choose to try and engage at a different angle. Looks like a Terror Drone may have gone down there. And Fordell going to be going for the kill. He gets the MiG on the deck. This might cause Damon to turn around. We'll see. Damon keeps pressing forward. 3-4 hammer tanks here on the front line. He's got some bears to deal with the tank busters, and they send those tank busters down into the ground. And this is some potential really big infrastructure damage on the other side of the map if Fordell is able to just go ham with it. Tengus do manage to clean up the airfield, so that's big, but 2 hammer tanks now going to be showing up. 3 hammer tanks here to deal with these Tengus, and it looks like Fordell leaving them latent for the current moment. The Harvester does go down as well, and now Fordell is going to feel a bit of that pressure, feel a bit of that damage. He's going to be striking back, taking down an oil derrick. As much as he can do right now is going to be good, because he is going to have a lot of trouble to deal with. 1 tsunami tank, 3 Tengus on the top, 2 tsunami tanks, but it looks like Satellite's going to be coming down. That tsunami tank sacrifices itself, and the hammer tanks, they're not going to get locked down, but no, the Satellites get called in and they do damage. Fordell, not paying attention here on this side of the map, is now completely locked down. 4 hammer tanks, one about to be a dual gun hammer tank, making some magic happen, but it's going to be a war factory for a war factory. The Bullfrog is here. He's going to be able to take down the Striker. That's the main bit of anti-damage, anti-vehicle damage that Fordell has, and it's all falling apart here. The offense and the defense, too good from Fordell. The death of this Tier 2 War Factory is pretty much going to be the death of Fordell's chance in this game. He had an opportunity if he'd been able to keep that Striker alive, if he had been able to kill off those Bullfrogs long before they ever got to his Striker, he would have had a chance, because Dead War Factory cuts down the production, and then it can become a bit of a game of whack-a-mole. Fordell playing super defensive and just moving around the map with a very agile army. But in this particular case, Fordell is rebuilding a mecha bay, but this is definitely a down game for Fordell. He was coming in already. He was looking like the underdog. Damon was looking like the favorite, and the prophecy has come true. In this case, Damon gets the win. Damon playing well defensively, playing well offensively, just all around winning in that game and keeping his economy game on track as well. So that'll do it for that game. Let's jump into one more match for this video, which takes us to Deep Sea. It looks a lot like Battle-Based Beta, but it is not. In the north, playing as the Cyan Empire, this is Bashley. B. Ashley representing the Empire, and on the south side representing the Allies. Playing blue, this is Andre, or Andre, as I normally call him, aka NeverCheese, who does waver between cheese and not cheese. Let's see what he does. This map we saw some fantastic matches on in the last couple of months. I mean, we did also see a great game between Dutch Army and Andre on this particular map. It was really entertaining. It was an Allied v Allies, and it was the first game from the Dutch Army Andre show match that they played a little while ago. First refinery is down, second refinery coming up, so no weirdness, no single refinery into airfield kind of shenanigans. And look at this, Bashley going to be blocking off that third refinery. Once again, a feature of this map, we have a relatively short walk to your third refinery. And this is one of those places where Allied players can deploy their MCV pretty far forward and also still reach that third refinery. But it's going to be walls blocking this off. Bashley is going to be doing what he can to shut that down, make sure that any third refinery that gets taken is considerably delayed from when Andre would have liked to have taken it. All right, first Vindicator is out. It is an airfield play for our Allied player, and no big surprise there. Although it looks like the wall segments are not going to be as complete as Bashley would like. He's going to be losing that dojo right out of the gate. Sells off the dojo just barely, and he's going to try and make a run for the hills. I'm not actually sure where he's hoping to go. He is just getting out of dodge and trying to make as much time as he can. A couple of wall segments did get deployed there. First Apollo, first Vindicator are out, but the MCV move means that it's not a fast Tier 2. I think it still could be a Tier 2 on the way. With that MCV positioning, it might just barely reach, but it is not a fast Tier 2, and it's going to be at least a couple of Vindicators, or at least a couple of Apollos to accompany that Vindicator. So far, things looking pretty classic for Andre. He's going to be potentially taking a third refinery nice and quick. He's got a dog over there scouting the potential third location of Bashley as well. Both players able to get their oil derricks quite quickly, and look at that, he gets the perfect placement on that refinery before even all of the wall segments have been cleared out. So a little bit annoying that there's still one wall segment there, but this has bought Bashley a good amount of time. He's not up to tier 2, but he did feel safe enough to sell off that striker, that defender VX. Apollo's heading out. The building maintains under the control of Bashley, so it does not look like Andre was able to clear out that building. Gives Bashley that extra bit of vision and map presence there on that area of the map. Tengu's cycling through the map looking for some targets. Third refinery should be coming up relatively soon for Bashley, and fresh airfield, which I assume will mean tier 2 on the way as well for Andre. And no, it's not. No tier 2 started, even an MCV pack up, so no cryocopters for quite some time. This is a very passive opening from Andre. He has almost done nothing on his opponent's side of the map. He's not going super aggressive. He could be going for a turret push to follow this up, but we will see. MCV into the middle of the map, and the turret push may commence, but this is a non-cryo turret push, which is a little bit surprising. First striker does go down. That tier 2 was super delayed, and the Tengus were nowhere nearby, so they could not contest any of that aggression from Andre, and there is going to be the MCV position, and it's going to be all about these walls, perhaps, for Bashley. He is going to live or die on this front on the east side of the island. First dojo is here. Where are the defenses coming in from Bashley? Not seeing a whole lot just yet. And in fact, this civilian structure going to be utilized against him. The Javelin Soldier going to be forcing these people away. And he does clear out that Javelin Soldier, at least for now. Okay, here's a new airfield. Real close for the repairs. Real close for those reinforcements as well. Triple striker on the ground. This is a decent force, but he did not get the value out of that ore mine that he was hoping. Indeed, only 750 credits worth of mining from that ore mine. So this is a big loss in economy. That could have been units, that could have been just straight up defenses, that could have been anything else. And instead, he spent that cash on that refinery that just got taken down. He's going to try for a hit First tsunami tank is out. Well, first tsunami tank that survives is here. Does crush 2 of the Javelin Soldiers, but more infantry coming in, and the Vindicators are, of course, going to refuel, rearm, and be ready to go. Refinery does go down, moves on immediately. Bashley just wants to capitalize on as much damage as he possibly can, leaving even one striker behind to kill off some of these. Oh, it's going to be tough with these buildings and with those Javelin Soldiers. You can't just get a clean kill on a power plant with the strikers. The Apollo's going to be going toe-to-toe with these Tengus, but with the help of the strikers on the ground, the point defense drones giving so much extra life to these units, and the Tengus are going to have to go for the transform. The strikers, for the current moment, going to be able to deal some damage in the sky. Here's the cryo shot firing off. This is the moment for either one of these players to take this game. Bashley on the edge of defeat, but on the edge of victory against Andre. He gets almost everything that's on the deck. Only Apollo's in the sky. The power plant getting targeted down. The tsunami tanks are here. One power plant goes down. It's not enough to send him into the low power mode, but if he can force this MCV to pack up, he sells off the airfield. Okay, so he gets out one cryocopter, which immediately gets smashed, and one turret is all that Andre has left for defense. He can cut home and run. He can try and make something happen, but he is going to be fighting from the down position for the rest of this game with no MCV, no support powers, no upgrading those tiers as easily. It's going to be it for the MCV, and this might be game for Andre, as he is going to have to find a different way to power his army. No more cryo shots from the sky. It's only going to be cryocopters, and only, okay, he does set up a command hub here, so he is going to be reestablishing that tier on that airfield. He can go up to tier 2. He can get cryocopters. There is still an opportunity for Andre to take this game, but those opportunities are becoming fewer and farther between. Single Tengu Harass could be really powerful here if he could only find... Ooh, that's a fully heroic Tsunami Tank getting frozen down. Where the Peacekeepers? It's coming in. It's a little bit far away. He does get sniped by something. I'm not actually sure how that Cryocopter or how that Peacekeeper died. Oh, there's an Imperial Warrior right around the corner. And what an awkward spot to be in for both of these players. Bashley has just so many Cryocopters to deal with, and now finally this Vindicator still hasn't cleaned up that one Tsunami Tank. That Tsunami Tank is still alive, but it's all about the Cryocopters, and there might just be too many Cryocopters, 3, maybe 4 Cryocopters out on the field. Bashley has to pivot, switch entirely into just anti-air defense. And, well, another Tengu does go down. Another Cryocopter gets a freeze. But no, it's another Striker managing to make it out of the War Factory. This might even be an MCV cell kind of a situation. It's such a tough call to make. Wherever that fully heroic Tsunami Tank is, it's somewhere out on this map. Andre, able to pivot so quickly and get that Tier 2 back up on this airfield is the thing that saved him. And he may have actually been using his MCV to absorb those shots. Just to give himself more time to try and get those Cryocopters. Oh man, these Cryocopters, so tanky, so many hit points, and going to be able to absorb so much damage. The only thing that Bashley really has going for him in this situation is that he was able to shut down 2 refineries, and that he was able to kill the MCV so that there won't be any cryo shots coming down from the sky. At the very least, he doesn't have that to deal with. He does have 3, maybe 4 Cryocopters going to be out on this map. We see 3 of them right there. There might be a 4th on the way. And this is just like this. Is just so many Cryocopters to try and deal with. Vindicator comes through, but no ability to chase with no Tengus out on the ground in the sky. And Bashley, I think, has finally done it. He's going to get the kill on the last Strikers, and that means these Cryocopters are unopposed. There's the cell of that MCV. I think he was hoping to keep it around for the point defense drones, but it's just not enough cash, and Bashley has done it without an MCV. He manages to find just the right strat to pull this one off. Bashley's going to try. He's going to go for the base trade. He's going to do what he can to take down every allied structure that is available to him, and 1 Cryocopter on the other side of the map won't be enough, but this might actually be a real path to victory. Bashley might be able to pull something out every time a Peacekeeper gets spawned into this map. It's 1 more dead Tsunami Tank, and now there are just not enough Tsunami Tanks. Oh, and the Mecha Bay is down, so that's it for Bashley. An amazing last-ditch attempt from Bashley to try and pull this game back, but it just will not work. And Bashley barely not able to overcome Andre, and that is game. A great attempt by Bashley, and he very nearly did it, too. I genuinely thought Bashley was going to be able to take that. Goodbye, Engineer. And that's pretty much it. So GG for that game. Great save by Andre, able to bring that one back. Let's jump into another game, which takes us onto the map Liberation Freeze for another 1v1. This time in the north, he is kicking it as the Yellow Soviets. This is Damon. And on the south side of the map, playing as the Blue Allies, this is Vindys. Old, rusty Vindys. Now, if you've already seen the double elimination, you know, like winners bracket finals, loser bracket finals, and grand finals, then you know how this event goes. But the upper bracket was best of 3s. The lower bracket was, I believe, best of 1s. And this is actually a War Factory before the second refinery, partnered with a flak cannon. So this is really going to be an answer to that aggression as we see a single refinery airfield, maybe even just a cryo rush coming out of our blue allies play here. And yes, this is Vindys, this is not Andre, as much as you may expecting. Oh, it's actually going to be a double refinery, so it's just a disruption play. This is not an all-in into the, yeah, as you can see, Damon sells off that flak cannon before he even has his, like, 4 bullfrogs out on the map, because he realizes it's not cryocopters heading his way, it's just Vindicators. This is much more manageable. The Vindicators are more expensive than the bullfrogs, and the bullfrogs have good anti-air range. So you can try and keep them at bay, and, well, you can't do anything about that, really. But you don't have a crisis, an existential crisis on your hands when it's just Vindicators in the way that you do when it is cryocopters as well. So Vindys goes for now a super delayed capture on his oil derrick, and this is 4, maybe 5. Yeah, it's 4 bullfrogs right out of the gate, a terror drone as well. Conscript onto the high ground, going to be able to take one of these buildings, get a little bit of extra vision, get a little bit of extra scouting intel, and this is full stock. 4 Vindicators out of that airfield, no Apollos at all, so he is not interested in, you know, playing this out over the long term. He is interested in doing as much damage early right now. He is not playing towards a cryocopter mid-game kind of a composition. He is playing all or nothing right now, pretty much. Harvester for Harvester, super reactor timing does get identified by Vindys, so he knows he's got a little while before any hammer tanks are on the ground, but this is kind of funny how long it takes a single conscript to bust down that wall. It was looking a little bit more promising a few moments ago, but it takes a long time for that conscript to break down the wall. Eventually, he will get there, and that terror drone goes for the infect. Will get the kill on that Harvester. Engineer is heading to the other side of the map. He may actually be going for Damon's oil derrick, which is very low on health, and these Vindicators have not returned home. They're not trying to clear up any of this aggression from Damon. It's just none of it's being answered in kind of a weird turn of events. Damon has only got the 1 terror drone to kill off the Harvesters, and the Vindicators have not even a single Vindicator has been split back home to kill either that conscript or the terror drone. I mean, this aggression could be dealt with. He's trying to deploy that prospector. He's trying to get it out of range of that terror drone so that the terror drone can't infect it. But nope, terror drone gets the infect, and he may be able to make it all the way to the airfield to get those repairs. Hammer tanks are now going to be coming on out. And actually, this prospector is close enough to go ahead and get repaired by that airfield. 4 bullfrogs still on the high ground, and follow-up to that super reactor is going to be a terror drone. So, Vindys does manage to get both oil derricks, which is nice for him. You can see kind of the difference in temperament for some of these players in a tournament game where there's, you know, not a huge prize pool, but there is a prize pool on the line. There is some cash to be won. There is some bragging rights to be earned. The temperament difference in these 3 games, you know, Damon, Fordell, Vindys, Bashley, Andre, these guys all playing a bit differently than if it was just a for fun kind of a game. Looks like a canceled Tesla coil on the ground there. Oil derrick is going to be recapped by that combat engineer. And this is the point where, you know, if you're playing towards the mid-game, you usually get at least 1 Apollo because you're thinking ahead to this sort of thing. But in this particular case, Vindys has no Apollos because he was going all aggression, and now these twin blades are a bit difficult to deal with. The auto-attacking, going to be splitting the damage between those 2 twin blades. Perfect control there by Damon, utilizing the fresh health twin blade to absorb the damage, but that is the end of the twin blades for now. The bullfrogs pushing back those Vindicators, but not enough to get a kill on any one of them. Oil derrick still under the control of Vindys. Bear's able to clean up some of these Peacekeepers. Last Peacekeeper doesn't go down. He gets the kill on that Bear and 2 hammer tanks on the south side of the map. Finally, the oil derrick will be captured. Vindys doing all of that healing up on that oil derrick for nothing. It looks like he's going to go for the hammer tanks, and this might be 2 free kills on these hammer tanks. He's going to be able to clean up both of them now. Now that's beautiful cash back by Damon. He gets 500 credits back for those hammer tanks. So basically a 50% rebate. on, well, I guess only on one of them. He did lose 2 hammer tanks there. Vindys guards up his 3rd refinery. He's going to be there on the water. Meanwhile, Damon took the high ground refinery, and both of these guys playing close to perfect, but a little bit bizarre strategies. Very good control overall from both of these players. Very good decision-making. Very good choices. That Bullfrog almost going down, but it does survive for the current moment. Another harvest will be struck down, as it looks like Damon is just looking to play the harassment game. If he can keep his economic footing ahead of his opponent, that seems to be his path to victory. He has been improvising from this game, basically from minute 1, altering his strategy, going for that war factory first, and then going for the flak cannon as well, canceling the flak cannon as he realizes that it's a Vindicator only play and not cryocopters, and he has been improvising this game nearly perfectly ever since, finding all of these bits of damage to do against the allied player here, there, and everywhere, and Damon is doing a masterful job of keeping the allied player from powering up. Vindys was on the edge several times of just getting out of control and being able to take this game his way, but Damon has disrupted Vindys at nearly every stage. 1 Vindicator for 1 Bullfrog, 2 Vindicators going down, 2 go down, 3 Bullfrogs get eliminated though. 2 are remaining, and the cashback as well for Damon means that those are not total losses. 4th refinery up and running, Tesla coil and a naval yard. The Tesla coil makes it an expensive investment, but Vindys calls the GG, and a wonderful game of improvisation comes to an end there, somewhat unceremoniously, as Vindys calls it quits. I want to take a quick look at that resource graph, and Damon ahead every step of the way, but also just keeping Vindys down. As you can see, Vindys with a very stair-step-like approach to economy in the first graph, or in the first part, because of how he was literally just on like 1 harvester for part of that time. No oil derrick, nothing. And that will do it for those games. I think we're going to check out one more match for this video, which brings us to Infinity Isle. You guys knew that we had to do at least one Infinity Isle game, so here we are. Let's kick it over to the left side of the map as the Red Allies. This is Waff the Wolf. Good old Puzzles bringing us an old school rusty game here. He even showed up to the Christmas tournament. But on the right side, one of 2021's rising stars as the purple, this is Dutch Army. Also playing that Allies. And we get an AVA on Infinity Isle. Old school versus new school. Waff the Wolf, one of the best players from 5 years ago. Not so much one of the best players recently. He's definitely lost a bit of that power as a result of not really playing for 5 years, which is certainly understandable. Meanwhile, Dutch Army, a guy who has gone in a couple of cases kind of toe-to-toe with Damon, standing up for a brief moment against the best player in the game, and having some pretty good matches other than that. Now, since this event, Dutch Army did play a fantastic series versus Andre, which I already talked a little bit about. So, you know, this is previous that series, but this is an AVA, kind of like some of the games we got to see in that series. Peacekeepers versus Peacekeepers in the middle of the map. Always an infinitely oscillating dance, PK v PK. There's a billion different ways that it could go, and it looks like Waff the Wolf has the better numbers in this particular case. Micro can really make a difference, but also sending one Peacekeeper forward to die can also make a bit of a difference as well. Vindicator does come forward. Going to be able to drop some bombs, clear up those. Ooh, he's actually just going to weaken 3 Peacekeepers. It does take, I think, 2 bombs to kill a Peacekeeper, or maybe 3 if it's in shield mode, something like that. So as you can see, Waff the Wolf decided to just weaken 3 PKs rather than kill any of them, so that his Peacekeepers can very quickly He accidentally dropped 2 bombs on that guy. So that his peacekeepers can very quickly chew through the peacekeepers of Dutch army. It's a classic little move there, and in this particular case, he needed to just drop bombs quickly to get on ahead of there. Javelin soldiers adding even more expense for Dutch army, but let's take a quick look around the other parts of the map. It's going to be Dolphins going for the harass, and Dutch army now moving his MCV up to the high ground, and Waff the Wolf not quite doing that just yet. His MCV is still there out near the water. Dog coming in from behind nearly, and Dutch army instead going to be going for a bit of a body block of his peacekeepers, utilizing that MCV. Waff's Vindicator goes for a bit of a scout. Always a good idea to keep a scout and keep an eye on your opponent. Vindicator, actually not going for a scout at all. He's going for the kill of that Dolphin. Perfect jump by Dutch army. You have to drop the bombs as Waff the Wolf in case your opponent isn't paying attention. But also, Riptide is now here. Repairs on that Harvester are going to mean that Dolphin is kind of inconsequential. Dolphin's going to need a little bit more firepower to be able to deal with that refinery than we saw right there. Big infantry armies. This is feeling like some classic 2013 AVA. This feels really old school in terms of Red Alert 3 competitive play. This big wall of infantry in the middle of the map, and then the real game is sort of being played out around the edges on the outside with aircraft, with Riptides, and with Dolphins. This is taking me back a couple of years. It's going to be triple Dolphins versus double Dolphin and double Riptide. And it's going to be Dutch trying to get as much value as he possibly can. I mean, hey, he grabs 1 Dolphin. That's about as good of an exchange as you could have hoped for if you're Dutch army. Kind of a perfect move there. Old Dutchy boy does manage to find some damage. He's got 4 refineries. He's got that oil derrick ticking as well. And Waff the Wolf has been lacking a little bit on the eco side of things. Vindicators, I think, coming in for some shots, and the Apollo is going to try and chase down that Vindicator as much as he can. 3 Dolphins going to be engaging against these Riptides, but that is not an ideal engagement for Dutch army. He does manage to clean up, it looks like, 1 Vindicator and 1 Riptide, so that actually turns into a pretty good exchange for Dutch army. Out from a total loss to an actually decent exchange of units there. And that is where just controlling the situation and always thinking on your toes allows a player like Dutch army to take what should have been a total loss situation and turn it into an all-right engagement. He gets a Vindicator, he gets a Riptide as well, and he trades that out for those Dolphins, all the while distracting Waff the Wolf, and he got his own 4th refinery up at the same time, just barely. Wolf almost loses that Apollo. That Apollo just barely managing to survive, and that is going to be just another nice little engagement for Dutch army. Waff the Wolf was the one starting that engagement with the Apollo, but he ended up losing out in the overall engagement. Dolphin does go down, tries to go for the jump to escape, and this is kind of an expensive ore mine over here. I mean, double Riptide and a Naval Yard just guarding that Harvester. Apollos against Apollos, but the Javelin soldiers are here inside of that building. It's going to be a sum-0 game there for these 2 guys as they both just take a bit of hull damage and then head back for repairs. Vindicator's keeping a bit of an eye on each other. Apollo's going to try and jump on the kill, and the Javelin soldiers will secure a kill finally for Waff. Both of these guys just playing the micro game. How close can you dance to the edge of danger? How much damage can you do before you're dead? Both of these guys playing that game pretty darn well, all things considered. Waff the Wolf is not exactly looking like someone who's not been playing the game for 5 years. This is a cautious, this is a not very aggressive AVA. It is much more a, not a gentleman's game, but definitely a cautious kind of AVA style that we're seeing out of both of these guys. Garrisoning up those buildings, paying big dividends for Waff the Wolf, getting extra shots against all of these aircraft, and controlling more of the airspace from the ground. This Javelin Soldier inside of that civilian structure, these Javelin Soldiers up here have provided so much additional air power for Waff the Wolf. His Apollos can engage with inferior numbers, and now this hydrofoil is going to make that even true out on the water. The first cryocopter of the game emerges as Dutch Army is the first one to make that call, although Waff the Wolf has his own as well. Dutch Army goes all the way up to Tier 3. He's got the artillery advantage, but not exactly, as that Athena cannon gets shrunk down. Athena cannon now out on the side of Waff. He's going to be able to target down some of these units. There's the cryocopter heading forward. He doesn't actually get the shrink, though. Aegis shield pops off. One Vindicator going down. It's going to be the double target as the cryocopters come in from the side of Waff. And the Aegis shield does stand. Now double Athena cannon on both sides. Cryocopter takes a lot of damage. Waff the Wolf, with his infantry-heavy composition, the use of those Javelin Soldiers in much greater numbers than Dutch Army has been really a course of strength for Waff the Wolf. And now the hydrofoil using its weapons jammer against these Riptides means that Waff the Wolf is going to take a victory out here on the water, trying to do a little bit of hitting in the front while hitting in the back at the same time. Cryocopter going to go for the shrink on that hydrofoil, and this Harvester can get back to work, but now this engagement is going to be a little bit more awkward as the Harvesters attempt to get back to work, and the Cryocopters get hunted by the Apollos, but the Apollos themselves getting hunted by other Apollos, and Dutch Army coming back in here with his Apollos, but he's getting targeted down by that hydrofoil, and the Riptides win on the side of Waff the Wolf. Dutch Army manages to escape the first round of attack, but now his refinery is kaput. And actually, Waff the Wolf is threatening on the front line. 4 Athena cannons to 4 Athena cannons. There's the first shrink coming up, but one cryocopter. No, he was attacking the observation post instead of the cryocopter. They were in line with each other. Depending on the placement of the camera, the refinery stays alive for the current moment, but not for much longer. Waff the Wolf with a bit of a misclick. Finally, that Javelin Soldier gets dealt with from the high ground. 4 cryocopters right out front, and Waff the Wolf losing unit after unit. Cryocopters step forward for both sides. Damage taken on both sides, but Waff the Wolf loses a cryocopter, and all of the cryos are still alive on the side of Dutch Army, but not so can be said for the Javelin Soldiers. There's going to be the panic response of a cryo shot firing down from the side of Dutch Army. He presses back forward. Double Aegis shield is going to preserve the lives of these units, but not the cryocopters. There's the return fire cryo shot from the side of Waff the Wolf, but nothing gets caught in it except a couple of his own peacekeepers. The cryocopters taking so much damage. Finally, one of them goes down. The Athena cannon misclick sent forward and is eliminated as Waff the Wolf calls the GG, and Dutch Army takes the game. New school beats old school in this case. Waff the Wolf and Dutch Army, an absolute neck and neck, back and forth AVA, and Waff the Wolf showing that he's still a powerhouse player even if he doesn't practice very much. I think we've got time to check out one more game, perhaps even with yet another old school player, which takes us back to the map, Deep Sea. And I promised you another old school player, so here he is as the yellow allies in the north. This is C9Q9MD, purveyor of weird builds and entertainment. Meanwhile, kicking it as the Blue Empire, playing random, this is Andre. What a weird matchup. C9, again, a player who played a bit in 2021. Ooh, fast airfield. This is the fastest airfield possible, actually. As you can see, the refinery just now coming down. The airfield after the power plant. And, well, this Vindicator is going to be hunting an engineer. He doesn't even get it. He doesn't even get it. This telegraphs to Andre absolutely everything he needs to know. He says, oh, okay, I know exactly what you did. Even before my burst drone gets to the other side of the map, I know what you did. And yes, it has been revealed. Let's see what Andre decides to do. Now, you guys all know Andre is an allied player at heart, and actually he is going to be trying to capitalize on this missing oil derrick as well. It's going to be close as the Vindicator comes in. He misses it! He misses it! And Andre gets the Imperial Warrior, gets the Engineer into that oil derrick. Wow, what an annoying moment for C9, and I think that might be an indicator of where this game is going. We shall see, though. You know, anything can happen, and like I said, these games could be from the upper bracket or the lower bracket. We genuinely don't know. This might be someone's tournament life on the line. It might be just a game, you know, one in a series of 3 or something. This is a lot of Imperial Warriors. This is an attempt at a double dojo. Good cycling of the Vindicators by C9Q9MD. And it looks like a couple of these Vindicators very low on health. One of them finally goes down. One of the barracks gets eliminated. And just C9Q9MD cannot deal with this much Imperial Warrior shenanigans. And that will do it. The GG gets called. A miscalculation of an opening by C9Q9MD. And that will do it. We got to see him. He tried something not totally unorthodox, but definitely something very risky and was punished for it. That will do it for this game, and I think that will do it for this video as well. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and this is Sybert signing out.